Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Anil Thomas. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Another group of 13 Israeli hostages and 4 foreign nationals released by Hamas. Foreign ministers of South Korea, China and Japan to hold talks in Busan on resuming trilateral leaders summit. India celebrates Constitution Day. The Indian Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on November 26th in 1949. And India will square off against Australia in the second T20 in the southern state of Kerala. India lead the 5-match series 1-0. Well, the second group of 17 hostages released by Hamas on Saturday. The hostages include 13 Israeli and 4 Thai nationals. Hostages arrived on board a bus early hours on Sunday at Egypt's Rafah crossing, where ambulance and medical staff were awaiting their arrival. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with the National Security Advisor Tachi Hengebi and other military officials, monitored the operations of bringing back the second batch of hostages freed from the Hamas captivity. The official release happened later in the night after a brief disruption earlier to the deal to free captives was overcome with the mediation of Qatar and Egypt. 39 Palestinian prisoners have also been released as part of the deal. The foreign ministers of Japan, China and South Korea will be holding their first meeting in more than 4 years on Sunday. The last time the three countries' leaders met was in the end of 2019. Japan's Oko Kamikawa met South Korea's Park Jin in Busan a short while ago, while Kamikawa also met China's top diplomat Wang Yi on Saturday on the sidelines of the trilateral foreign ministers' meet in the South Korean port city of Busan. Earlier, or besides seeking a timing for the trilateral leaders summit, leaders will also discuss areas where cooperation is in their common interest. The trilateral framework provides an opportunity for Japan and South Korea to urge China to play a responsible role in restraining Pyongyang. Well, Madagascar's incumbent president has won a third term. That's Andry Rajoelina, following a disputed election boycotted by the opposition and its supporters. He won 59% of the votes to defeat his two closest rivals, ousted former President Marc Ravalomanana and Stephen Randrianarasowinko. DD's Isaac Lucando has more.
Voter turnout in Madagascar's election was recorded at 46%, one of the lowest in the island's history. 11 million voters had to choose between the incumbent President Andry Rajoelina and 12 other candidates. The low turnout was influenced by calls for a boycott from 10 presidential contenders who withdrew their candidacies. Their decision was based on concerns about the election's credibility and the validity of President Rajoelina's candidacy due to his dual French nationality. Despite their withdrawal, the names of these candidates remained on the ballot. Following the release of provisional results, the opposition has officially stated that it does not recognize them. Their hope now lies in the High Constitutional Court, the country's highest court, which is tasked with validating the election results within 9 days. This period allows for the filing of appeals in the event of any challenges to the election results. Isaac Lucando in Dar es Salaam, reporting for DD India.
Well, campaigning for the election in Congo's opposition candidate, Denis Mukwege, has promised to work towards a well-structured and modernized military if elected. A 2018 Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Mukwege attended the first election rally in Bukavu since officially announcing his candidacy back in October. He is pitted against President Felix Tshisekedi, whose first term was mired by economic hardship, epidemics and worsening insecurity in the east, as well as Martin Fayulu and Moise Katumbi. The presidential elections are scheduled for the 23rd of December. Well, a major goal of the COP28 summit in Dubai will be reaching a new agreement to address the world's suffocating plastic problem. Reports predict the volume of plastic entering the world's oceans could triple in the next 15 years if immediate corrective action is not taken. One major polluter is Japan, a country which is second only to the US in the amount of per capita plastic waste it generates per capita. Experts there are warning that the country's worsening plastic addiction is already unsustainable. Chris Gilbert has more from Tokyo.
The environmental cost of convenience. Millions of plastic bottles, buckets, tires and toys washed up on the banks of East Tokyo's Arakawa River is an indictment and illustration of Japan's plastic problem. Volunteers come here every week to clear the grass, collect the trash and carry it off. The group has collected 16,000 bags of plastic in 6 years, and it's not finished yet.
We're cleaning much faster than it's accumulating, for sure. And people all over Japan, there are thousands of beach cleanups all over Japan. We can't even get it all done. We just keep hitting it every week. We just keep chopping at it. So we'd like to have more people joining.
While these volunteers are making headway, the country is barely making progress with kicking its dependency on plastic. Japan produces more than 21 billion plastic bottles annually, a 65% increase over the last 2 decades. And while it's a world leader for waste collection, with recycling services reaching more than 90% of households, experts are concerned about how that waste is recycled. Every year, more than 2.5 billion plastic bottles are incinerated and pumped into the atmosphere, where the microscopic debris stays until it's inhaled or settles on the land or ocean. Professor Hiroshi Okochi's research team has found microplastics in the clouds 1,000 feet above Mount Fuji.
Today, the weather seems fine, but there are definitely microplastics flying around in the air. Humans know about the plastic waste in the ocean. They know about the harm to animals because they can see it. But there are plastics all around us right now. They're just invisible.
He says the concentration of airborne plastic may be especially high in megacities like Tokyo.
Japan's work-focused culture has fed its waste consumption. Busy people on the go can get a nutritious lunch and a coffee for less than $5. But there are long-term costs for this convenience, the waste that remains, and the taxpayer-funded recycling system.
But even recycling is not a foolproof method of disposing of plastic waste.
Ultimately, plastic wastes are prone to stay. It's hard to completely clear them, even if they're recycled. Our waste will stay with future generations. They will inherit it in all forms. It will impact their intestines and reproductive system. They will pay for our waste.
He says the cost responsibility must be shifted from taxpayers to producers to lift the price of plastic and deter its use if Japan is to help lead the world towards a more sustainable future. Chris Gilbert in Tokyo, reporting for DD India.
Well, thousands of people marched in Madrid to mark the International Day of Non-Violence Against Women. They called for an end to violence of patriarchy and demanding affirmative action from governments. Protesters marched across Gran Via Avenue wearing purple clothes and chanting against violence. Protesters also demonstrated solidarity with Palestinians, waving flags and staging a performance in front of Madrid's City Hall. The number of women who have died from gender violence in Spain has risen from 1,273 since 2003. This year, 52 women have been killed by partners or former partners. Well, Argentinian women too took to the streets to call for an end to gender-based violence and defended their rights to legal abortion following the election of right-wing libertarian Javier Milei. Hundreds of people marched on the day of the elimination of violence against women. Protesters said Milei and his cabinet posed a threat for the rights of women. In the past, Milei has said he intends to revert rights gained by Argentinian women, such as access to abortion. Well, hundreds of women marched down on downtown Mexico City to speak out against gender-based violence on Saturday. Human rights and feminist organizations, along with groups of parents of disappeared peoples, took to the street for the elimination of violence against women. Protesters demanded justice for furnicide victims. Well, NASA, meanwhile, has warned that a powerful solar storm is expected to hit the Earth on Sunday. According to the space agency, the number of sunspots has increased by 10 times in the last 1 week. Sunspots are areas with strong magnetic fields. Hot matter called plasma interacts with the magnetic field, sending a burst of plasma away from the sun in the form of a flare. These flares unleash a barrage of solar storms towards the Earth. The storms can trigger radio blackouts and can also endanger spacecraft orbiting the Earth. Well, let's take a look at some other stories making news across the world. It's a race against time in a jungle in Bolivia as this sanctuary sends out rescuers to recover animal hurt in the large-scale wildfires. The Inti Wayraasi Animal Refuge in San Buenaventura from La Paz has collaborated with volunteers and firefighters to aid animals in need. Rescuers patrol the forest searching for animals at risk or injured and treat them and bring them to recovery. A statue of a Ukrainian prisoner of war, Alexander Matyashvili, was unveiled in his hometown over the weekend. The execution of the soldier was filmed by Russian forces. The unarmed soldier was quickly hailed by Ukrainians as a hero. His mother remembers her son pledging never to surrender. While climate change has affected animals more than humans globally, workers at the Pristina Bear Sanctuary in Kosovo are busy in taking care of a lion named John, puzzled by the heavy snowfall in its enclosure. Similarly, some of the bears in the sanctuary also didn't bother to hibernate despite suitable weather conditions. Well, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. It may take long to rescue 41 workers trapped in the Silkyara tunnel. Updates from the ongoing 54th International Film Festival of India in Goa. Italy returned to the Davis Cup final after a gap of 25 years as Jannik Sinner beats Novak Djokovic not once, but twice.
Welcome to Chandigarh.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Anil Thomas. Back home, massive rescue operations are still underway to evacuate the trapped 41 workers in Uttarkashi in the Indian hilly state of Uttarakhand. The rescue operations to prepare an escape route for the 41 workers trapped in the Silkyara tunnel. Rescuers will now focus on vertical drilling after the rescue operation was again halted after the auger machine broke down. There are only few meters of debris left between the rescuers drilling in from the Silkyara end and the trapped workers, but officials say it is difficult to anticipate when the last leg of the operation will be completed. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is taking stock of the rescue operations, and the trapped workers are being provided with food and medications. Besides, video communication too has been established with the trapped workers, and the landline facility is being set up by BSNL at the tunnel, which is to enable the stranded workers to talk to their family members. Well, India is celebrating its Constitution Day today to mark the adoption of the Indian Constitution by the Constituent Assembly in 1949. Constitution Day is also known as Samvidhan Divas.
74 years ago, India's Constituent Assembly convened on November 26, 1949, to breathe life into the Constitution. The framers crafted a forward-looking, resilient document that reflects the nation's ideals and safeguards the future of every Indian. It is hailed as the foundation of the world's largest democracy, guiding its course and serving as a source of democratic governance and inspiration. On Constitution Day last year, Prime Minister highlighted global attention on India's progress and its strengthening international image rooted in the Constitution. He emphasized that "we the people" is not just a phrase but a call, a pledge and a belief that has made India the mother of democracy. The Constitution integrates the best from foreign constitutions while preserving India's ancient heritage and freedom struggle.
हमारे संविधान के प्रेम्बल की शुरुआत में जो वी द पीपल लिखा है, ये सिर्फ 3 शब्द नहीं है। वी द पीपल एक आह्वान है, एक प्रतिज्ञा है, एक विश्वास है। संविधान में लिखी ये भावना उस भारत की मूल भावना है जो दुनिया में लोकतंत्र की जननी रहा है, मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी रहा है।
Under Dr. Rajendra Prasad's leadership and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar's stewardship, the Constitution achieved a remarkable balance, pulsating with democratic spirit and adaptable to future needs. It endows every Indian with a duty to respect its ideals and institutions and embrace the legacy of the freedom struggle.
संसद में अभी हाल ही में जो
The recent enactment of the Women's Reservation Bill in our Parliament is a great example of elevating the role of our women. In addition to this, the setup of the Commission for the Amendment of Other Backward Classes has also been provided for in the Constitution.
उसकी व्यवस्था संविधान में की गई है।
The Constitution also advocates for gender equality, reflecting in provisions like the recent bill endorsing 33% parliamentary and state assembly reservations for women. It provides legal channels to address societal issues and aims to establish India as a democratic exemplar through constitutional amendments.
Well, Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, with an aim that no citizen of the country should be deprived of the major schemes of the union and state government, reached Jasad village of Jagadia Taluka in Bharuch in the western state of Gujarat. Vikas Yatra was welcomed by the senior officials and public representatives. Villagers took advantage of the stalls at the venue, getting information about the various schemes, which also included Anganwadi, Arogya, Ayushman Card, Ujjwala Yojana. With the resolve to make India a developed nation by the year 2024, Prime Minister has launched the Vikas Bharat Sankalp Yatra from the 15th of November, which is also celebrated as the Tribal Pride Day. Well, Day 6 of the 54th International Film Festival of India commenced with a series of engaging film screenings and events. The festival, which celebrates the best of Indian and international cinema, has been a platform for filmmakers, actors and industry professionals to showcase their talent and connect with like-minded individuals.
After concluding 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow 48-hour filmmaking challenge, a talent camp was organized for the fresh talented minds. Representatives of the top companies from India's media and entertainment sector were present to provide the 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow an opportunity to connect, network and pitch their profiles to them. Companies including Roy Kapoor Films, Saregama, Yodlee Films, Amazon Prime Video and Pocket Aces were the ones to hire the creative minds.
This is an initiative of our Honorable Minister to make sure that this 75 creative minds, after gaining so much of experiences and exposures, are given an opportunity to work with some of the biggest media and entertainment houses in the country.
We have a lot of talent in this country, those who are established, of course, whom we work with at Prime Video. But I think it's the initiative with us is to create our own talent in the sense of like finding the people who have these great minds and great stories to tell and, you know, honing it, helping them.
We have an opportunity which combines to showcase our work as well as, you know, get hired from one of the top companies in India. I think it's a very good initiative.
It's a great opportunity because being an actor, I'm an actor, so it's a lot of competition is there, and to connect with these production houses, these big companies, it's really difficult. So this platform is really great.
One of the highlights of the day was a screening of the film The Exorcist in Restored Classic section. Other screening included Citizen Saint in the ICFT and Latido in Cinema of the World section. The youngest filmmaker in the film festival, Prathamesh Mahale, also showcased his movie Pradakshina in the Indian Panorama section.
Actually, it's a very great platform for independent filmmaker like me. Like we don't get much audience for our film, and this IFFI and ministry, what they are doing, it's like very helpful. And it's like motivating also. In
addition to film screenings, the festival also hosted press interaction with Gulmohar movie and Sirf Ek Banda Kafi Hai team. Gulmohar, a Hindi film written and directed by Rahul V. Chitela, was featured in the Indian Panorama category. The film explores the meaning of family and home, interweaving individual storylines of various members of the Batra family.
The real home, what it does when you go back from a hard day's work, of a long struggle on that day, that real home gives you that solace. It encourages you, it pats you, it caresses you.
Several discussions and interactive sessions on raising finance, bringing creative visions to life and passion of storytelling young filmmakers were also held. With an impressive lineup of screenings, masterclasses and discussions, the festival remains a significant event in the global cinema calendar, bringing together film enthusiasts from all over the world.
The candidates of 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow have employment opportunities with them. The movie lovers, cinema goers are also enjoying thoroughly. With this, Day 6 concludes, and as the festival progresses, it is bringing together global cinema, Indian cinema and everything together under one roof. Shama Mishra, DD India, Goa.
Well, on to sports now. India play Australia in the second 2020 international in the southern state of Kerala's capital, Thiruvananthapuram. They are 1-0 up in the 5-match series and will continue to keep that winning momentum while Australia are likely to bring back World Cup hero Travis Head and Glenn Maxwell in the playing 11. In tennis, Italy's Jannik Sinner beat Novak Djokovic in both singles and doubles to secure a 2-1 victory over Serbia. It brings Italy close to the Davis Cup finals after 25 years. It is a shocking defeat for Djokovic, who lost his first Davis Cup singles match since the semi-final in 2011 when he retired against Argentina's Juan Martín del Potro. Well, that's all in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, Twitter, and also Instagram. You can also visit our website, ddindia.co.in. We're going to be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Anil Thomas from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.